All right, hello. My name is Pippi, and welcome to another Pokemon Draft League. So, after participating in two console draft leagues, the Unaware Draft League and the IDL Offseason, I am back to a Showdown League. This is Season 5 of the Chungus Premier League, which is the draft league that I started playing Pokemon Draft in. It started as a group of friends, and now it's kind of evolved into a more official draft with some pretty good players. And this season, our format is low tier board. So that means that on a normal draft board, the highest cost mons are usually ones like Dragapult, Great Tusk, Iron Valiant. On this board, the two highest mons for comparison are Gallade and Gardevoir. So it'll be really fun to use some lower ranked Pokemon that you normally wouldn't see probably even get picked up in a draft. So yeah, looking forward to it. And now I'm just going to go over the mons that I drafted and talk about how I intend to use them. So for context, I was the 10th choice in this draft, and I did not expect my first pick, Hisuian Goodra, to still be available by the time it got to me. But people were picking some crazy things for their first pick. I think enjoying the calamity of a low tier board, and so somehow this mon, which is really one of the top like 4 or 5 mons on our board, made it to me. So I'm super excited to use Hisuian Goodra. Let's just take a look at its stats. It's really bulky, especially defensively. It's got 150 special defense. It's got 100 attack and 110 special attack. So it can really be either a physical attacker or a special attacker. Gets body press. Pretty vast move pool with let's see. So yeah, we got body press. Thunderbolt is great. Ice beam. It gets like all the elemental moves basically. Draco Meteor. Dragon Tail. It gets its signature move Shelter, where it's basically Iron Defense, but with body press, that's good. I think it also gets Iron Defense, weirdly. No, it doesn't. It only gets Shelter. Okay, that makes sense. But still, literally the same move. It also gets Life Dew for some healing, which, with a mon as bulky as this, Life Dew only heals 25% compared to Roost's like 50. But in a format with lower damage dealing mons, Life Dew could honestly be huge on this. So yeah, super excited to use Hisuian Goodra. I'm excited to use it with Assault Vest. I want to run choice specs with it. Maybe Eject Pack Draco Meteor. There's just so many options for this thing. So yeah, I am looking forward to it. Oh, it also gets Dragon Tail. It's probably actually one of the best Dragon Tail users, even not on a low tier board. Like even on a high tier board, this thing can just spam Dragon Tail. So yeah, that was my first pick. All right, for my second pick, it came back around to me, and what I noticed was people were picking up the rapid spinners and the defoggers really quick. Either sometimes their first pick, a lot of times their second pick, and I wanted to get this one, Bramblegast, and so I picked it up as my second pick. Even though it was only 9 points, I decided, you know what, this is kind of the exact one I want. Bramblegast, I actually don't love his design, but I'm hoping he'll become one of those mons who I use in draft and I just slowly start to love. But obviously, he's a great spinner. His grass ghost typing is great because he can't be spun upon himself. He also gets spikes, so along with setting up the spin with getting rid of hazards, he can set mine up. He gets strength sap, which is such a dumb move, honestly. You can just sit in front of a physical attacker if you just keep strength sapping them if they're if they don't have a boosting move like Swords Dance. Even a bulk up, you can sometimes win that matchup. And so yeah, he's mainly a physical attacker. He gets Poltergeist, gets what else does he get? Let's see. Oh, Curse is honestly so fun to use in draft on a ghost type. Disable is great in the right context. Nightshade, Substitute Nightshade can come in such handy to counter a Calm Mind user. Pain Split, great healing move. I didn't even realize he got Pain Split. Even Trailblaze Shadow Sneak, yeah, really great moveset, honestly. I'm excited to use him. I guess the one downside of him is his abilities. Wind Rider, I don't really see myself using Tailwind too much. I actually don't even know if I have a Tailwind setter on my entire team. But Infiltrator is okay. It ignores Reflect and Light Screen and Substitute, which could be helpful. To be honest, I mainly got him for his moveset. And his typing. I think his typing Grass Ghost is just really good. I've done a few. He gets Power Whip, right? Speaking of his grass typing. Oh yeah, he gets Power Whip. Awesome. So yeah, I've done a few drafts now where I haven't really drafted a strong grass type, and I love grass types. So yeah, looking forward to adding him to the squad. All right, third pick and my first Terra Captain right from Gen 1 is Snorlax. So I really wanted to use Terra Captain Snorlax. I've been watching some draft matches where people use Snorlax, and the funny things you can do with his ability Gluttony or Glutony with making him eat berries early is just, it's so goofy. You can really make him like weirdly bulky. You could do like Key Berry or what's the other berry? The one that raises your special defense, the Apricot Berry combined with Curse. He's a rest, sleep, talk giant. Even Giga Impact has its moment in draft, but obviously you'll be clicking Body Slam most of the time. He also gets Body Press, which I did not realize. That's kind of sick. Let's see, he gets Counter, Brick Break, Chilling Water has some utility. He gets all the elemental punches, I think. Seed Bomb, he really gets an awesome move pool to choose from. Belly Drum, I am excited to see. He does get Belly Drum, right? Oh yeah, he does. It's just it's in the usually useless moves, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, I'm excited to use Terra Snorlax. I think that with the option to use him as a Terra Captain, I can really make up for a lot of his like typical weaknesses, like obviously being super weak to fighting, being super weak to, I guess, mainly fighting, right? Yeah, mainly fighting, but I don't know, I just feel like his bulk, like, it doesn't exactly hold up in, like, a modern gen, but with, like, Terra Fairy, you can kind of make him a lot bulkier. Terra Water in the right matchup, Terra Dragon even. But yeah, super pumped for Snorlax. I think he's going to be a really interesting Terra Captain to use. And the good thing about him is also he gets immunity, so he can be immune to poison. So in the right matchup against someone with a toxic user, that's great. But he also gets Thick Fat. And Thick Fat on him normally is like kind of not a real ability because Thick Fat makes it so he takes half damage from, I think, fire and ice type moves, which is normally useless because he's a normal type. But if I make him like a grass type, a flying type, a dragon type, ice type, really any of those, he can actually like really be a great like Assault Vest user type of thing. I wish he got Drain Punch, but he does not. But I think he's got Healing to Rest without it. So yeah, that is my first Terra Captain, and now we're gonna get to pick number 4 and my second Terra Captain. All right, so at this point my team was looking pretty slow. My fastest one was Bramblegast, who it does hit 306 speed, but not amazing. So I decided I need someone fast, and I thought who better than someone with speed boost so they could be infinitely fast, which is why my second Terra Captain is Yanmega. So Yanmega got a pretty strong special attack stat. He gets speed boost, so every single turn he's on the stage, he's gonna be gaining speed. He gets Air Slash, Bug Buzz, U-Turn is great. Maybe I could, honestly, his attack stat is 76, which is not like horrible. Like I could maybe run like a crazy dual wing beat, Leech Life set, maybe like Choice Band Yanmega could come. Who knows? Let's see, Whirlwind, U-Turn. Oh, he does get Tailwind, so I do have a Tailwind setter. So maybe I'll try to combine that with Wind Rider or Bramblegast one week. Who knows? But on top of Speed Boost, which is a great ability, he also gets Frisk, which like low-key does have a place in draft. Just to like know what item your opponent has. But I'm actually more excited for Tinted Lens, which makes it so that his not very effective moves still hit for, they do double damage. So I think they basically end up doing like regular damage or maybe 3/4. But like you can combine that with Choice Specs or Scarf to do like pretty big damage with Bug Buzz or Air Slash. Like even if they are switching in something that normally would be defensive towards it, like they're not going to be that defensive if you have attack investments. And on top of that, as a Terra Captain, I can use Terra Blast. So basically, any type I need, I can have him do. I can do Terra Ground Blast, Terra Ice Blast, and even if they're predicting that, even if they're switching in Mons who are able to tank these well, it doesn't really matter because I'll be doing big damage. I think the biggest downside of Yanmega is his base typing, which is Bug Flying, and so he is like takes 50% to rocks if he comes in if you're not Terra'd, so definitely have to keep that in mind as I figure out the best way to make use of him. All right, let's go to number 5. All right, up next I got Florges. So Florges is a fairy type, really just wanted a fairy type on the team, as well as someone with some wish healing. Getting a wish is just so great, and this thing is also massively specially defensive. So between Gudra and Florges, I have 2 big special defenders, and with Snorlax, I have a pretty good defensive mon, and then Yanmega Bramblegast is kind of my offensive right now. But the thing about Florges is it can be pretty offensive. It gets strong Moonblast, it's a great Calm Mind user. You could also go like Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, any of those are good. It's a great leftovers holder, great substitute mon, really just all around good healer, good special attacker. Again, not super fast, but I do think it kind of makes up for that in its bulk. And I feel like since this is like a low tier board where I feel like the power is in general a little lower, I was kind of looking more for the bulky mons that I prefer as opposed to trying to go for like all out speed, all out attack in a lot of cases. And that is pretty clear as I go to my next few mons. So let's go to number 6. All right, then I got Hisuian Quillfish. I've always wanted to draft one of the Quillfishes. I love them. So this one's great. It gets it does not get Flip Turn. I literally thought this thing got Flip Turn. That must be the other one, but it's still pretty good. It gets Toxic and Toxic Spikes, which is great. It's an Intimidate user, so it can lower the attack of things and then kind of just like be a wall. It can hold Eviolite since it evolves into freaking Overquill. It gets Waterfall, so some great water coverage. I think it does get Barb Barrage, yeah, which is a poison type move that doubles if the target is poison, and also has a 50% chance to poison, so that can combine super well with Toxic or Toxic Spikes. Yeah, just a pretty overall like decent mon. It also gets Haze and Pain Split, which are great like disruptive moves. It's another Spike Setter, Taunt. Yeah, not a lot to say. Oh, and the typing. I really wanted a Dark type. And a poison type. A grounded poison is so important in draft so that you can't just have toxic spikes spammed against you. So I figured like what's better than a dark type that covers both of those. And with Destiny Bond, it's pretty great. It's also not like that slow. It hits 295 speed. Like I would honestly consider with 295 speed and a 95 base attack, I would consider running like a Choice Scarf on this thing 1 week. I'm excited to see what kind of weird sets I can do with this thing. I think it gets a really like unique move pool where you kind of have to like make it pretty utility most of the time, but I also think there is room for physical in there too. I might even run like Life Orb 1 week. I'll see. Sticking with the poison types, I got Hisuian Sneasel as my next pick. So this is a fighting poison type, so my second poison type, grounded poison on the board, but I really wanted somebody fast, and the fast mons were going and my points were dwindling, and I realized Hisuian Sneasel has a great attack stat of 95, but 115 speed. With a speed boosting nature, it hits 361 speed, which is fantastic. Especially with its move pool. It gets close combat, it gets E, it does not get U-turn. I keep thinking Mons get U-turn. I'm pretty sure Sneasler gets U-turn. It does not get Dire Claw, which stinks, but it does get a lot of other moves. It gets Switcheroo, which I like. It gets what else? Let's see its physical moves. That's really where it really is. Oh yeah, it gets Throat Chop. It gets X Scissor for some coverage. Low Kick is great if you don't want to run close combat. Gunk Shot is really good. Poison Jab, especially with its abilities, you could go Inner Focus so that its attack can't be lowered. But you could also go Pickpocket, which is really fun. I thought this thing got Poison Point as well as Hisuian Quillfish, but clearly I don't know the team I drafted that well, so that's kind of fun. But Pickpocket is super fun. You can, basically any consumable item, you can make it so that, you know, if you're up against a physical attack, or you're using a physical attack, you can steal the move the next turn. I guess Keen Eye is like something of an ability, but I don't really think of it as one. I feel like most weeks I'll run moves to boost this thing's damage. Since it is a pre-evolved form, it doesn't deal quite as much damage as I'd want. But it could also run Eviolite if I'm going for something like bulky, where the goal is to like toxic things up and kind of like sit on the field for a minute, or get spikes up, toxic spikes. So yeah, there's a lot of options with this thing. I kind of wanted base Sneasel, but somebody sniped it from me. I really wanted that Ghost Dark typing, but didn't make it in time. But I feel like I'm, you know, kind of interested to see how using this version of it goes. If it doesn't work well, you know, I could always trade later on. But for now, I'm excited for Hisuian Sneasel. All right, we're more than halfway through now. I picked For context, this draft was you had to pick 8 to 10 mons. I think I just like a lot of low point mons, so I ended up with 10. A lot of people ended up with 8 or 9. But next I went with Naki Stack, keeping with my pre-evolved form motive here. So I love Garganackle, and I thought this thing is basically Garganackle. You can use Salt Cure, obviously one of the best moves in the game, just getting residual damage that never ends until the opponent switches out. Body Press combined with its high defense and Eviolite is great to really make it deal some damage. It's a great Stealth Rock setter, and it gets Recover, so some great self-healing. Yeah, I mean, I guess it also gets Curse, and it gets Earthquake, Heavy Slam, I guess Iron Head. Yeah, it gets a Zen Headbutt. I did not know. Does Garganackle get Zen Headbutt? Yeah, I guess it must. But yeah, this thing is pretty interesting. I think it will come a lot of weeks because I think it kind of fills like a defensive hole pretty easily. And Salt Cure is just like a move that like you kind of like have to prep for. Like it's almost like, oh, do I want to bring a Covert Cloak against this team since they have Knuckle Stack? And like, yeah, that's like a legitimate threat. And this thing was only 3 points. I kind of think this was like a steal on the board. Like Hishu and Sneasel was also 3 points. And I was like, oh, these things are like so worth this like low amount to like get this offense speed or this defense and this like residual damage on my team. All right, here we go. Apparently, I didn't even realize I was doing this in the moment, but apparently I was obsessed with drafting pre-evolved forms of Pokemon. So my next pick was Basculin, and I get access to the red form, the blue form, and the white striped form. Although stats-wise, they're all the same. I think the only difference is that the white form can hold the Eviolite because it evolves into Basculegion, and it also gets the ability Rattled instead of Rockhead. But Basculin has a pretty high attack stat of 92, which on this board is pretty good, and also a decent speed stat of 98 base speed, which helps him hit 324 with a speed boosting nature. And you know, with adaptability as an ability, he hits like really hard with his water moves. Like he gets Aqua Jet, gets Flip Turn. I feel like this thing is kind of just like my fast water user, and it doesn't really need to do more than that. Like you can click Wave Crash against a ton of teams and just do chip, do like solid water damage. I could put a Life Orb on it. I could put a Choice Scarf on it. I could put a Choice Band on it. I could put a Mystic Water on it if I want to. And I think, does this thing get, yeah, this thing gets Head Smash. Part of me is debating at some point making this thing one of my Terra Captains, because I do think a Terra Captain with adaptability can just go so crazy. Like you can run Terra Rock Head Smash with adaptability. That's 2 times stab on a 150 power move. That's like pretty crazy. And or I could run Rockhead and not take the recoil damage, which is kind of sick. So yeah, that's basically the story of Basculin. Is he is my water type and he hits hard, because I just feel like every draft team kind of needs a water type, and I didn't want any of the slow ones on the board. I debated Float Cell, but I just kind of hate Float Cell. He's a little faster than Basculin, but I don't know, he's not as exciting to use for me somehow. And so, honestly, once I got Basculin, I was feeling like my team was complete with these 9 mons. But I literally had 7 points left over. Other people were struggling to get their team completed with 8 mons with the low amount of points we had. And I was like, what do I do with these 7 points? And that is how I ended up with my last mon, Zoroark. So I went with Zoroark because I've never used him in draft. His ability is pretty fun with the whole illusion antics. I'm not like that into it. I feel like what I like more with draft is being able to build fun sets and stuff. But he besides his gimmicky ability, he's got great stats. He's got a 120 special attack. I could always use another special attacker on my team. Really, my main one is Yanmega, and the rest, and Hishu and Gudra. So getting one with a little more power and some decent speed at 105, I'm not going to complain about it. Moveset is okay with Dark Pulse, Hyper Voice. Yeah, Nasty Plot is great. Psychic is good. I guess his attack stat is 105, which is like literally higher than Basculin's, who I was just saying had a good attack stat. So you could run like Sucker Punch on this thing, honestly. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to try some mixed sets with these guys. Flamethrower is great coverage. And I feel like as an item, you can usually run Life Orb, maybe a choice item, Weakness Policy, maybe if you can assume that he'll be taking like a U-turn, but like from a fragile mon that he'll actually live. So yeah, I don't really know if Zoroark is going to be my favorite mon to bring, but I do think the threat of it is kind of something you have to prep for. So that is at least fun. But oh, and he gets Toxic. I thought he was one of the ones who lost Toxic, but apparently not. And Trick. Who doesn't love Trick? You can disrupt with the items. I can run a Trick Sticky Barb Zoroark. Maybe I will. I don't really know. Oh, and he gets Burning Jealousy. That's such a stupid move. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. So that's my team. Hisuian Goodra, Brambleghast, Terra Snorlax, Terra Yanmega, Florges, Hisuian Quillfish, Hisuian Sneasel, Knacklestack, Basculin, and Zoroark. So those matches are probably going to be getting started to upload probably the week after this one. So it'll be 8 weeks of a regular draft season, and if I make it to playoffs, probably a few matches of that. So it should be super fun. My first match is, again, this is Zethor, who I am 1-2 lifetime against. So he's won 2 of the sets, and I've won 1. So I need to even up that scoreboard. All right, so that's it from me and from the Pippigons, my team, and peace.